Welcome to this new how-to. In this how-to we're gonna look at how you can start the engines of the Pilatus PC 6, which is currently, I would say, parked at Rotterdam Airport. So let's get ready to fly. So there are several things which you need to be aware of with this aircraft. The first thing is, as soon as you go inside the aircraft, it's, I would say, almost started already. So if you want to really start from scratch, you need to first switch off everything, right? So you need to switch off the avionics master, but as you can see, there's a bug currently which switch it on. So the only way to switch it off is by really taking the power away and also making sure that the generator is off. And then do it like this, because the avionics master continuously switches on, and really, it's a frustrating issue, but there's nothing to do about it currently. In addition to that, several of the buttons are not working or are in the incorrect position, or in the position where you wouldn't expect the aircraft to be in. Yeah, that's something which you need, I'll say, just to be aware of. So now we completely power down the engine and power down the aircraft. You can go to the checklist, but there comes the next surprise. The next surprise is that only a portion of the buttons are, let's say, lighting up if you select them. So the power lever works, the parking brake works, but this one already stops working. And that's also applicable for all the other buttons. All the other buttons are not working, and I'd say that's, kind of a disappointment. So Soho really needs to fix this, and I would say in a future update, because this doesn't work at all. So that's why I'm gonna close this one now, and I'll show you how to do it. Or actually, I can still show it because we can still use it partially. For example, the fuel valves. So the fuel valve, you can find it here. And it needs to be in the open position. If it's not in the open position, it will not work, and you can, well, for some reason you can start the engine. Probably it's doing it on some base of reserve or something, but it doesn't work, let's say, well enough then. And also make sure that the battery switches are on, right? So the battery switches, which we just did hide under the cover, you can switch them on. You can switch on the master switch, and here's the generator switch. Which is, I would say, not mentioned currently here. Engine instruments, you can find them on different spots, right? So here are the pieces like the PSI and the torque, the ITT, the RPMs. So that's all nice. The fuel shut-off valve, that's being set to open. Then you've got the auxiliary pump. I'm not sure where the auxiliary pump is. I didn't find it yet. I do think it's somewhere here. It might be the booster pump, which you need to switch on for a short time and then switch back for after a few seconds. So let's do that. The propeller is clear, as you can see. And then they say, hey, switch on the starter button. And the starter switch can be found here. But as you can see, it sometimes switches back. And also the, I would say, the help description does not always work. So here goes the propeller. That's done. Then you can switch on the ignition. And then we're gonna check the oil pressure. You can still see that the lights here are burning, which means that we probably did set the fuel in a different position. No. The fuel was set in the correct position. So now it will start. So let's wait for that. And then once started, you can switch off the starter by doing it like this. And keep the fuel system valve in this position. Don't change it. So once that's done, we can continue, right? The oil pressure is stabilized. Make sure that that's the case. And the oil pressure, you can find it here on this end. It's stable and it's in the green mark. Same thing as for the fuel pressure, which is good. The ITT stabilize below 660 degrees. I'm also wondering if that's, I would say, an error, because there's no, I would say, correct scale being displayed here, not 1 times 10 or something. So, but yeah, let's assume that it's correct, and then we can go continue with the after the engine start checklist, which means that the generator can be checked and on, right? The generator can be found here. The NG needs to be above 51%, which I think this one, and it's right just above 51%. And then we can switch on the avionics master, but as I just explained, it does it already automatically. Compass synchronization can be changed here, right? So this is the compass, and you will find several other compasses here. So you can find the heading compass here, so you can make sure that they are, I would say, matched, and also you can, I would say, turn it around using this button. Altitude or attitude indicator, it's not set anywhere, so that's fine. And then we can go before the taxi, right? Switching on the landing lights, etc., which are here. So this is the rotating beacon, and this is the heating pitot, and this is the nav, the flight instrument lighting optional, the cabin, the cockpit fan, and then we've got the landing lights, which you can switch on and off. And so let's switch them on. So this is the left landing light position, and this is the landing lights, and this is the right landing light position and the landing lights. And here we've got several, I would say, other things. So let's cover this, that we don't, I would say, close it. And then check it from externally if we did everything correctly. It looks like, although I would have expected that this light on top would burn, so maybe we did not switch that one on. It's the rotating beacon, so you would expect it. Well, let's accept it for now. Or did we switch off the batteries? Yes. So one warning, don't close this one because it will switch off everything. So be aware of that. Learning point also for me, don't switch off the or don't push down the battery, because then you will switch off everything, and that's also probably why the light is not burning. Yeah, because now it's blinking, as you can see. So now we've done that, we can do some other things, and one of them is making sure that the engine condition is set correctly. Currently set to low idle. Here on the other side, you will find it here. You can set it to high idle, which is needed for takeoff, right? It's also mentioned in the checklist. In the checklist, if we go back one page, you can see that it says the prop RPM leveler needs to be set to full, and that's this one. So you need to set this one to full. You can leave this one here, or you can also set it to 100%, and then the RPMs will increase if you throttle. You can see, right? So the engine is working. So let's see if we can take off. So we've just removed the parking brake. We need to watch out here a bit. Gonna hide the list. There are some other nice buttons, which I would have hoped working, like opening and closing the door, but that one doesn't work, unfortunately. Maybe it will be updated in, I would say, future release, because it looks like that this aircraft was not 100% finished when, I would say, Sim Update number 7 was released, unfortunately. You can see there's a pretty heavy wind. So we're gonna take the runway to the left side. So camera positions are working nicely, as you can see. And once you're, I would say, taxiing, you don't need to increase speed because it goes pretty fast, as you can see. I'm gonna make the turn here. There's another aircraft coming in, so we need to watch out. Hey person, don't forget to lower your gears. And you need to watch out that you're not, I would say, switching over forward, because this aircraft is driving on its back wheel, and if you're pushing the brake too hard, you will have an issue. So we're gonna drive on a runway. Then we probably need to wait till that other aircraft is gone. I think it's gone now. I'm gonna go full throttle. You can see that you need to make corrections during taxiing. Oh, the other one was coming straight to us. It's my fault because I didn't request clearance. So sorry for this. And then we're airborne, right? So then you can trim. Oh, trim the other way around. Always release the joystick a little bit back when trimming. And then we're airborne. So you saw that several things are nice in this aircraft. There are still some things which are, say, work in progress. Don't use this one unless you want to shut down the engine completely, because if you do it, then it will switch off the batteries, and of course then you can't do much. The navigation system is the GNS 530 and 430, which we will cover in a future episode, as we did for most other aircrafts. You can see that the yellow fuel is still, let's say, burning. One still wondering why, but that will be probably fixed after hitting the program button. That's something also what I need to, I'd say, figure out how it's working and how we can how you can adjust it and how you can use it. It looks like that you only need to hit the program button once and then it will be programmed. Of course, that also depends on the fuel which is in the aircraft, which can be manipulated using the options normally here. I don't see them here currently. It's the nav log, the weather. No, that's because it was the fuel here. So you can use it here. You can adjust the fuel if you want, right? So now it has been reset back to the value which we did here. So be aware of that. As soon as you hit this option, it will refuel the aircraft. Cool, right? It's just let's say, refueling in the sky. So as we're flying, right, we've taken off, then you can reduce the RPMs and also reduce the engine condition. Be aware that it directly sets it to low idle, so I'm not sure if that's, I would say, the idle or the good position to be in if you're flying. I do expect, because it's, I would say, the speed is, I would say, stable, as you can see, and we're still climbing, so that's good. So you can see that the PSI torque, right, it's in between these values. Always keep an eye on that, because if it's becoming too high, then it's not good. You can see it's fluctuating, right? So it's now, let's say, decreasing, increasing a bit, but we're not in the red zone here. I think we're in the correct zone here because it needs to be between these two. So nice. So here ends this video. In this video we looked at how you can start the engine of the Pilatus PC6. As you could see, it was a bit of a challenge because the list doesn't work, or the checklist doesn't work as expected. So I showed you some tricks. I also showed you how easy it is to make an error by closing this button. So again, be aware of that. In the future we will look at the navigation piece of this aircraft, as we did also for the other aircrafts, and look at the fuel meter and how you can use it. Here ends this video. I hope you liked it. If you liked it, then consider to use the like button. If you've got questions or comments, then feel free to post them in the comment box below. And if you want to stay up to date about new videos I'm creating, then make sure that you're subscribing to my channel. Thanks for watching and see you next time.